because mine is social student, it's like a custom more or less together. And because it's like
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and good evening to everyone. So let me introduce myself first. How many of you, this is the first time you're coming to the masjid? Not you guys, obviously. Okay, and how many of you know me? I'm a famous guy, but I'm just asking. Okay, only 2, 3, 4 people, okay. So my name is Complaint Box. So I receive all the complaint from the neighbors, from the mosque, and from everyone. Okay, even from my imam or other staff, everyone I receive the complaints. So my name is Complaint Box, by the way. So after the food, you know who to go to complain. Okay. Thank you. We are very honored to have all of you here in the mosque. And this is Canhole Masjid. You know the Canhole Road, so we name after the road. The mosque is Canhole Mosque. Canhole Masjid. So today will be 2 guest speakers. So we'll be hosting by only one person. This is Ustada Aisha. So Ustada is, we call the teacher, we call Ustada. So she's Ustada Aisha. She's the head teacher of our madrasa, evening madrasa. The madrasa is where we teach the Islamic education in the evening, 3 days a week, and she looks after those 100 kids and about 15 staff. So she's the head of the department. Also, she runs weekend. She runs a youth club and some karate class and jiu-jitsu class. She manages them. She has other responsibilities. So she is a head teacher. She's a program coordinator, and she's second in command of Complaint Box. So she's another one. So let me hand over to Ustad Aisha, and inshallah she will be the host.
Okay, good afternoon for Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So inshallah we'll start off with a Quran recitation today from Qari Hafizur Rahman, who may I request he makes his way up here. So he will be reciting a few ayahs regarding Ramadan, and I'll have the translation up on the whiteboard if you guys want to see follow along as he reads.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصمه ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداع إذا دعان فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلهم يرشدون
Jazakallah khair to Qari Hafidhur Rahman for that beautiful recitation. I hope you all followed along with the translation, and I'm sure he will be hanging around if you have any questions about it. I'm going to call Ustaz Shafi again to just speak a little bit about the history of our masjid for those of you who are new here. Ustaz?
I didn't want to tell my name, but she already told you. So my name is Said Shafi. I'm one of the trustees of the mosque. So we purchased this building. It was a park before, so we purchased it in 2010. And 2012, we turned it to a mosque with the permission of the Watan Forest Council. And with our local residents and our volunteers in the team, we decided to open this is a mosque and as a community center. And from the day one, we're trying it hard to keep it as a community center. So a lot of activities we do here, which is as a community, a lot of communities from here, whether they're Muslims, they have the faith or no faith, they get benefited from us. And we'll be discussing those and have a small presentation for you, which is the Aisha will do it. Furthermore, if you have any question later on any of the events or anything, you have any questions, we are here to answer you. And for me, basically that's it, because she didn't tell me that I have to tell the whole history of candles. I wasn't prepared for this. My job is, as I said, and this is on serious note, my job is to receive the complaint, receive the feedback, and to come back to the team and tell them what to do, what will be the next step for us. So this is my role in the mosque. Thank you.
Okay, so as Sashaki mentioned, we did open this mosque about 10 years ago, and just this September that passed, we celebrated our 10-year anniversary, and we did invite all community members, so we had all sorts of guests there, alhamdulillah, and we had many of the community members come up, make a speech. It was a really lovely day. We had dinner, and we gave out awards to all of the community members who helped out our establishment over the past 10 years. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the activities that the masjid runs, and I do manage most of these, so if there are any that you are interested in enrolling your child in or yourself in, just speak to me and I can get that sorted out for you. So we'll start with the food bank, which I'm sure a few of you are familiar with. So the food bank was opened in 2019, I believe, and we have fed about 50 to 60 families weekly. And on average, we spend around £40,000 on food to give to the community members. So our staff and our volunteers, they come in on Friday and they bag up all the food and they do deliveries as well. And there's also families who come here and they take from the food bank whatever they need. And over the last 3 years, we've spent approximately £117,000 in food donation, and this is not just from the mosque, it's also from all of you. All of the donations that we get from our community, part of it does go towards the food bank. So a big thank you to all of you who have donated towards that and helped our community so much. Another activity we run at the mosque is youth club, so this is open to both girls and boys. So I'll speak a little bit about the girls one, so that's open on Saturdays between 12 and 3 p.m. So we've had it running for about 2 years now, and the concept is every week the girls come in and they do a different, mainly arts and craft activities. So every week we plan different activities for them. So they've done things like making bookmarks, making pencil cases, they've baked before. Whatever the girls wish for. So they request to us what they want to do and we make it happen for them. And we also have Boys Youth Club, which runs on Sundays from 1 to 5 p.m. For boys, it's more sports-based, so they do play a lot of sports. We do have 2 PlayStations, or 1 PlayStation, I believe, in the mosque, so we have that open on Youth Club days. And the youth coordinator does take them out to the park on the better days. We have table tennis, we have foosballs, so we have a lot of facilities for the boys who just come in here and just take their energy out, really. With both the girls and boys youth club, we run workshops monthly. So some of these workshops have been, we had a live zoo come in to the mosque, so the children really enjoyed that one. We had a science workshop where they got to make their own slime. We had a circus workshop where there was a circus coordinator, he came in. He taught the children how to do different tricks, so they really enjoyed that one as well. Again, it's what the children want, so if they ask us for something particular, we'll look for it and we try to make it happen for them. One of the other activities we do predominantly on Sundays is karate for girls and jiu-jitsu for boys. So the karate session, we have 2 separate sessions, one for younger girls and one for older girls. So the younger girls session runs from 11:30, I believe, to 12:30, and the older girls session runs from 12:30 to 1:30. And this is girls only. And then we have the boys only jiu-jitsu that starts at 2 p.m. Again, we've got the younger boys session from 2 to 3:30, and then the older boys session from 4 to 5:30. So these are open to all our community members and your children. If you're interested in enrolling any of them, please do let me know. And both our instructors are qualified instructors. Our jiu-jitsu instructor has had a lot of experience teaching jiu-jitsu. Our karate instructor is also a qualified karate instructor, and I believe she is here today as well, somewhere at the back. So she is there if you want to speak to her. Another recent activity we've opened is tuition. So this started back in October, and it runs on Saturdays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. This is open to, again, our entire community. So we have had quite a few members enrolled, alhamdulillah, and we do have male and female tutors. So we start teaching from SATs all the way up to A level. So depending on the subject, the timing will change. So SATs is from 12 to 2 p.m. and GCSEs is from 2 to 4 p.m. And within that, we have one-to-one tuition, we have group tuition. It's all based according to the student's needs. So again, if you're interested in that, please do come and speak to me. So that's from 1 to 4 p.m. every Saturday. Campul Maktab is one of the, I would say, main activities we run. It runs on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And we have about 120 children now, which is huge because we started, I think, 10 years ago now. We started 10 years ago, so the growth has been amazing. I'm personally very, very proud of Campul Maktab. So that runs from 5 o'clock to 7:15. And mainly it's just the children coming in, they spend the first hour reciting Quran or learning letters, things like that. It's all based in age groups, so it's all separated by age, and then they do age-appropriate activities. So the second session is usually, for the younger ones, they'll be doing posters, arts and craft. The older ones will be doing more lesson-based topics where they learn they learn about different aspects of Islam. And again, it's all based around the children. So if they have something specific they want to learn, they discuss it with their teacher and the teacher plans according to that. And finally, we have, not finally actually, we have pre-maktab. So this is something we started recently as well. So we noticed there was a gap in the community for our younger toddlers. So our maktab, the youngest is 5. So we wanted something for our even younger children from 2 to 5-year-olds. So on Saturdays now, from 10 o'clock to 11:30, we run something called a pre-maktab, which is basically where the children come in and more or less they have a good time. There's tons of toys, all sorts of preschool toys. They have fruits, they engage with their teachers, and then here and there they'll have a story time. They'll learn some of the Arabic letters, things like that. And that is on Saturdays from 10 to 11:30. Then we have our Simply Nikah service. So this is a wedding and nikah service that's been running for about 2 years now. And the garden in the summer is beautiful, so that's a very popular location for our weddings. I just have my own wedding here as well, so I 100% recommend. So we do use, all of the halls are available to use, and then we are able to hire decorators for you if you need. We also provide food, tables, chairs, and of course our nikah service by our Imam Sheikh Mujahid over there, and the nikah certificate as well. Or just generally at a wedding event, we are able to facilitate that for you. And coming soon, we do have our funeral service. That took a turn. We do have our funeral service coming up hopefully within the next year, where we will be able to help you in terms of knowing the steps, what to do next. Once you've lost someone, you know it's very hard to think and you need a support system there for you. So inshallah, we do have our janazah service starting soon. And now just to discuss some of the other things that have been happening in Campbell Masjid recently. So we had a local police visit where the local police did come down. They had a day of food, as you can see, and they just learned a little bit about the masjid and generally just had a good time. Then we have our family fun days. So we run these annually, most of the time in August. Some of you have probably attended them. The whole mosque is just full of food and toys and games and stores and all sorts. So we do run those every August, more or less. And as you can see in the picture, the mosque does get pretty crowded. And that's something we do again, it's open to the whole community. We had our grand opening of Campbell Masjid Garden, I think a year and a half ago now. And as you can see in the picture, the mayor and the priest of our local Baptist church, they're cutting the cake together. And that was a really lovely day as well. We had a competition of who could come up with the best name for the garden, and everyone participated, and we picked the best name, and it was Campbell Masjid Garden, I believe. And then we had Jenny Hammond, the local school down the road. They came and visited us. The children were so excited, probably because they saw cake, but they were very excited to learn about Islam. And our host at that time was Sister Nada. She had a really lovely day with them. They made posters, and we did get really, really good feedback from that. And then we had the Walthamstow Masjid football tournament. So this was predominantly with the Boys Youth Club. They did win this tournament, by the way. We're very proud of them. They have a cup somewhere. I don't know where the cup is, but there is a cup. and I think they went up against 3 or 4 different. So it was with all of the other 60, sorry, my bad, I said 4. 16 mosques. There were 16 mosques, and our mosque came out on top, alhamdulillah, of course. So we do aim to do that again very soon. And then we have, of course, our annual community iftar. We do this every year for our community to come and open their fast with us. I would say it's one of the highlights of the year for our masjid. It's really, really lovely seeing everyone here come together and just celebrate one of our religious events. And we have our Eid Salah, so this one gets very, very packed, but it's always so nice to see the community together. So we invite everyone to come and pray on Eid Day, and then we prepare hundreds of goodie bags. We're drowning in goodie bags. We prepare hundreds of goodie bags for all of the attendees, especially the children, so the goodie bags have sweets, toys, chocolates, all sorts inside of it. And of course that will be happening next week now, since it's Eid next week. And I believe next we have our Waltham Forest Pride of the Borough Award. So this was very recent, just a couple of months ago. So our masjid won the best organisation for voluntary and community service. And on the picture you can see our Imam and Mr. Shafi and a couple of other staff members standing with the awards. So that was a very big pride moment for us. We were very, very happy with that. And I think next we've got, can I ask Ustad Mujahid to come up, and he will be speaking a little bit about Ramadan, our values.
By the way, on your right hand, on your left, the gentleman is a good looking one with the suit. That's her husband.
Can I have a round of applause for Aisha, please, everybody? That was her first time as well, okay? And she had to prepare, I don't know if she had that, okay. But she's done very well, very proud of you. Everybody, once again, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good evening, everyone. And I am the Imam of this mosque here. I think many of you have met me before. I was asked to talk about fasting in the month of Ramadan. I know fasting, Ramadan, these are all Arabic terms, Saum, Siyam, so let's do this very quickly, okay? Let me try this. I won't go into technicalities of work. And after that, I'll take the questions. So, first of all, the good news is that everybody here knows the meaning of fasting. And, because I think everybody in our life, I don't know why we're getting feedback. Because everybody, we're all fasting, isn't it? Because we wake up in the morning and one of the very first thing that we do is we break fast. That's why it's called breakfast, right? Because all night everyone is fasting. So everybody knows fasting, and there's another fasting that's very popular these days. It's called the intermittent fasting. Many people are trying to lose weight, so everybody knows the meaning of fasting. And previously there was another fasting, the Quran talks about this, the fasting of Mary. When she was given birth to Jesus, peace be upon him, she was told to carry Jesus, peace be upon him. And then she was worried that if I carry Jesus to the people, they're going to ask me a question, that where did you get this baby from? So this is the Quranic version. God Almighty said to her that you carry on, and if the people, they press you and ask you a lot of questions, just point towards the baby. And then, that's it, just point towards the baby. Just say, don't talk to me. And if they want to ask you any more questions, just point towards your mouth. Say, I'm fasting. And the fasting basically at that time was for Mary to remain quiet. That's it, don't talk. So she's allowed to eat, she's allowed to drink, but she's not allowed to talk. And everyone respected that. So, as she was walking with baby Jesus, they said that, where do you get this baby from? Mary, you're so pious, what's happening? All these questions started, as predicted by Mary herself. She pointed towards the baby and towards her mouth. They said, oh, we've got so many questions, and now you're telling us that you're fasting. So they understood straight away. Secondly, how are we going to talk to this baby? كيف نكلم من كان في المهد صبيا? We have a chapter in the Quran called chapter of Mary. How are we going to talk? How are we going to speak to a baby in cradle? And then the Quran says that baby Jesus spoke for the very first time. So the point is this, that the Muslims actually, they didn't know the word Sawm or the fasting, they didn't know, and they were living in Mecca. The very first verse that talk about fasting is actually the fasting of Mary. So they're getting used to some sort of abstinence, that you got to give up something, give up talking, for example. That's the meaning of fasting. So let's go to the meaning of fasting. What is fasting? So fasting in Arabic language, we say the word Sawm or Siyam. And like I said to you earlier, the very first time the Arabs, they heard the word fasting was from the story of Mary. Otherwise, they didn't know anything about it. Quran talks about fasting of Mary. So Sawm and Siyam literally means the word Sawma Yasum in Arabic language. And I'm an Arabic language teacher. That's my profession actually. So the word Sawma Yasum in Arabic morphology means to abstain. That's what it means. And they understood from the Quran that Mary, she was abstaining from having any conversation. And then later on in Islamic Sharia, Islamic terminology, it means to abstain from three things: food, drink, and physical relationship with one's spouses. But is it all month or when is it? So the Quran tells us it's actually from dawn till dusk. A lot of people, they say sunrise to sunset. It's not correct. We actually stop eating before sunrises, like an hour and a half before sunrises. From the true dawn, we call it. Yes? And that's when the Muslims, they start to pray the morning prayer, the Fajr prayer. And then has to be till sunset. So it gets a little longer. So for example, what's the duration of fasting today? I'll let you know. So all the people who are fasting, you find out. So we started from 4:45 a.m. So you're allowed to eat in the night, no problem. But the last food that you will have is 4:45. After that, not even a drop of water. Nothing, yes, not even water. Yes? I always get asked, what about water? A little bit of water. I said, no, not even a little bit of water. Yes? And then that's going to continue till dusk. So we're going to be breaking our fast today at 19:58. So we got an hour left. You know. And today, we are very honored that we'll be breaking fast with you. So thank you very much for joining us. You're going to get to see what we eat for our Iftar, how we break our fast. Okay. So today is actually just over 15 hours. 15 hours, it's not much, it's not that very long. And a lot of these, you see, they're all fasting here, you know. A young man, are you fasting, Hazim? Are you fasting? Okay, he's fasting as well. And actually one thing that I would like to make, there are exemptions. You know, our Hafiz, when he was reciting, he was following the verses. A child who hasn't, he or she, if they haven't reached the age of maturity, they don't need to fast. But some of these young people, they want to fast voluntarily, they want to experience this. But we always advise their parents, if they ask for food or they're finding it difficult, let them break the fast. There's nothing wrong with that. So anyone who's basically traveling, they don't need to fast. They should fast if they can, but they don't need to. This kind of exemption given. Anyone who's ill, and they need to be on medication, for example, doctors have prescribed them, they have to take some medicines, they don't need to fast as well. What they're going to do, they're going to, when they get better, they will basically redo their fast. There are lots of exemptions. Some people have reached an age where, you know, they can't fast. You know, just because of their old age and they need constantly water, they don't need to fast as well. So all these verses were recited. I know in English translation looks very plain, you know, but he recited so beautifully. That's the beauty of the Quran, you know. Even Torah and Psalms, if you were to hear, it's very beautiful. God likes his words to be recited in a melodious voice. And that's why he recited in a melodious voice. So we're going to move on. So what is Ramadan? You get to hear this Ramadan, you know. Ramadan is actually an Islamic month. So we have, the way you have January, February, March, we have Islamic month as well. So we basically start, our first month starts with Muharram. Then it goes Safar. That's Rabi'ul Awwal. That's the month that the Prophet Muhammad was born. Then we have Rabi'ul Thani. Then we have Jumad al-Ula. Then we have Jumad al-Ukhra. Then we have Rajab. Then we have Sha'ban. And after Sha'ban, we have Ramadan. And then after Ramadan, we have Shawwal. And then after Shawwal, we have Dhul Qa'dah and Dhul Hijjah, Hajj. That's the Hajj month. And the last month is Hajj. And then we have the month of Muharram. So as you can see, month of Ramadan is the 9-month Islamic calendar. Unlike any other calendar, the Gregorian calendar, Muslims basically we follow our Ramadan timetable And our month of Ramadan, we follow the lunar calendar. We don't follow the solar calendar. And that is the reason why every year, 11 days Ramadan actually goes back. So next year, our Ramadan will start in March. We started in April this year, but next year is going to start in mid-March and finish in the very first 2 weeks of April. And that's the reason why, it keeps on changing, because we follow, as you can see, the lunar calendar and not the solar calendar. And it's very interesting because if a Muslim, basically, if he were to fast, if he or she were to fast, I mean, he will go through the whole 4 seasons. So sometimes we're fasting in winter, sometimes we're fasting in summer. The summer fastings are very long and very tough because of the heat, and it's getting, the body, you can feel that your body is getting dehydrated now. You're looking for water. It's very tough, the summer one. But guess what? The good news for that Muslim is that don't worry, your tough days are gone now. The next is, very soon we'll be fasting in the winter. So now our fasting is coming to the month of March. It's going to be February. It's going to be January, where the sunset is actually sometime about 3:58 and 4 o'clock here in this country. So it's very, very short days. So that's the wisdom behind why we Muslims follow the lunar calendar and not the solar calendar. Because if you follow the lunar calendar, then basically you'll be fasting in every season. So you'll have your tough days and you'll have some good days as well, meaning some easy days as well. So moving on, so why Muslim fast? This is the question that I get asked. So our simple answer is this is a command of God. Our Imam who recited the verses to you earlier is those verses of God. And to us, it's very important that we follow what God commands us. That's very important to us. We could have all discussion and debate, but at the end of the day, if we see that there is something contradicting the commands of God, then we are not willing to listen. This is how a Muslim is supposed to be. We will try to make you understand that, look, this is the command of God. So God tells us to fast, and this is why we fast. So God tells us to pray, this is why we pray. So a Muslim is the word Muslim actually means that you submit to the command of God. And that's the reason why we fast. Because some people they say that Muslims, they fast to remember the poor. So I just ask them, then the poor shouldn't be fasting then. Why are they fasting? But sometimes Muslims fast because they should remember, those who are in need and they have no food. And those who are not in need, they shouldn't be fasting as well. No, fasting is actually the command of God. With all the exemptions that we read, if you are exempted, then that's different. If not, then you should try to follow the command of God. But God's always remember one thing, that God's commandments are very easy to follow. That's why He gives exemptions. If you're ill, don't fast. If you're traveling, don't fast. I was always to think, why can't we fast when you're traveling? Because I travel, by the way. I travel around the world. I've been to 30 countries around the world. So I've been to a lot of countries. So I've been all over Europe. I've been to America. I forget anywhere. I've been all over the world. And I fasted as well during those months. So I found the fasting very easy. So I was to ask one of my teachers that why is it that God has exempted us? He said that is because not everybody is like you. First of all, there are so many creation of God, and some people, they find it very difficult. They have their certain food. If they were to travel, they can't take their food with them. And also sleep deprivation. Some people, because of traveling, the whole body is different now. They can't fast. There's various reasons. God doesn't look at one individual. He looks at everybody who can fast. So by the way, you could fast, but if you don't want to, then you don't have to because of traveling, because you are away from your home. Your best food and your home food, all this is not in front of you, and it's very difficult to arrange. And not everybody in the past they could arrange food. Nowadays you just press a button and then go Uber delivery is right in front of you. They never had that before, you see. That's the reason why the exemption is given. Now even if you have it now today, it doesn't matter, because once God makes the statement, then you follow it. The second reason why we fast is because it is a tradition of Prophet Muhammad. That's why you'll notice that when we will be breaking our peace be upon him, you'll notice that when we break our fast, we try to break our fast with date. Now we don't have no dates here in UK, but we get it from the places that they do have dates. Because what we do, we want to follow the tradition of Prophet Muhammad. We believe that even fasting will take us closer to God. And when we follow the tradition of Prophet Muhammad, it will take, we will feel more connected with Him. That's the reason why we try to break our fast with water and dates. And then you could have the biryani and the samosas and all the pakoras. You'll see all of that today. I don't know the menu, right? We have all of that, correct? Okay. Right. Another reason why we fast is it makes us reconnect with the Quran, because the Quran was actually revealed in this month. I'll talk about this a little later on. Another reason why we fast, I mentioned earlier, is so the Muslims will devote themselves to their faith. And also, fasting teach self-discipline. There are certain times you want to do something, but no, you can't. You have to wait till 7:58, like I said to you. There's a lot of things. You give up. A lot of people are coffee addicts. Oh yeah, there are so many of them. There's one of the very first thing in the morning they want is coffee, but now they can't have it. So they have to wait till 7:58. So all this is self-discipline. There are things that you love the most, you have to give up. For what? To please God. We are only doing it to please God. We also remember the suffering of the poor as well. There are so many people. When we have food in front of us, we realize there are people around the world. That's their normal day, to be honest with you. The way we are fasting every single day, that is their normal day. We fast only for a month. They do it for all 12 months. They just don't have anything. They have no breakfast, no lunch, no dinner. And if they do have something, it's very little as well. So we remember them. That is why Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told us that we actually, in the month of Ramadan, before the actual day of Eid, which will be next Friday most likely. So before the next Friday, every one of us fasting, we have to actually give something called a zakatul fitr. It's a charity. It starts with a minimum of £7 to maximum how much you could give. Everybody have to give this, and it must reaches the poor. Because Prophet Muhammad said that don't just enjoy yourself on the day of Eid with food. Make sure that your fellow brothers and sisters who are deprived of food, that they also enjoy that day as well. So we care about others. And in the month of Ramadan, if you do a bit of research, you'll see that Muslims are always donating. Always donating. We had a charity organization here that they were collecting for orphans in Syria and Kenya. And they went back from our mosque for over £10,000. One night they just collected. £20,000 in total, and our mosque people have given like that. And this is what we do, because it's not about just us, me. We have to care about others. And that's what Ramadan does to you. It makes you think that, wow, I know exactly what I'm going to eat at 7:58. I could smell it, I could see it. It's happening in front of me. But there are people actually they don't. So this is the reason why. This is another reason why we fast as well. And that's the last slide, and then I'm done. Don't worry, I won't bore you anymore. There's a connection between Ramadan and Quran, and that's very important to us. We believe that the Quran tells us that the Quran was actually revealed in the month of Ramadan. The whole Quran was revealed in the period of 23 years. It took 23 years for the whole Quran, 114 chapters, over 6,600 verses were revealed in the period of 23 years. But the very first time the Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad, it was in the month of Ramadan. And also in the month of Ramadan, Prophet Muhammad and Angel Gabriel, they used to revise the Quran to one another. Muhammad, peace be upon him, used to Gabriel. Gabriel used to read back to Prophet Muhammad. This is the reason why month of Ramadan and the Quran is very important to us. And that's why we have something called the night prayer. Now, my apologies, the young man who was reciting, he was very loud. If anybody here lives local and they hear any Quran, it's his Quran. He's the one who reads the loudest. Okay? So that's the reason why actually we have it's called the Taraweeh prayer. The whole idea is that we fast and we bring everybody into the mosque, the men and the women and the children, everybody comes here. And what we do is we try to listen to the Quran, the whole Quran, from the beginning to the end, at least once. Yes? And that happened basically because they recite one chapter per night, so that when the month of Ramadan finishes, the whole Quran is there. So the whole recitation takes at least 2 hours. So we get to hear from expert reciters. And that's basically, you could say that everybody in the congregation will get to hear the whole Quran recited. Why? Because the Quran was revealed in the month of Ramadan. Why? Because Prophet Muhammad used to revise the Quran in the month of Ramadan. So we are again following the tradition of our Prophet Muhammad. So this is Ramadan and fasting in a nutshell. Thank you very much for listening. Yeah, I'll take it. Now, it's your turn to ask any questions. And I'll try my very best to answer. It doesn't have to be related to Ramadan, but anything that you want to know. You now exactly know what happens in Kanho. Okay, you heard of our complaint box already, but to be honest with you, he doesn't get much complaint. That's the good news. Everybody here enjoys it. A lot of people are coming from far. This is really interesting. We're actually putting a lot of crowd. This is supposed to be a local mosque, only for our community. But you don't believe it, in the last few days, we have visitors from Morocco. Don't know why he came from Morocco. I would like to go to Morocco, it's the other way around. But anyway, a person visited from Morocco. We had visitors from Bradford, from Leicester, from Birmingham, and this is outside of London, and from Manchester, sorry. And a very small town called Batley. I don't know if anyone knows this. And you guys had a Fox's Biscuits. They all come from there. Because I studied here, the Fox and Biscuit, that. So Berkeley, some people came as well. It's very interesting. People actually want to know what we do here. What they really like about our mosque is the fact that we care about our community. This is exactly what they said. So you guys care for your community, you keep in touch with them, you invite them. This is something that we are not doing. How do you do this? So we train them. We tell them what to do. This is what we do. So we want to be very transparent. What happened in the mosque, we want everybody to know. I don't want anyone to think, God knows what these people are going in there with this hassle or this clothes, or you don't know what they do. Well, Aisha, in her presentation, told you everything that we do here. We have classes, we have fun, we have clubs, we have karate, we have jiu-jitsu. So this is for fitness purposes, yeah? We have football, everything goes on here. And we pray. That's the most important thing. We pray 5 times a day. But in the month of Ramadan, we pray a special prayer called Tarawih, as you can see, it's called the night prayer. And that is the reason why it gets a little late. So again, I apologize to all our neighbors if it gets a little louder. We only have till next Friday, and we never hear anything after that. We're very, very quiet after that. So thank you very much once again. Anyone have any other questions? I'll take your questions.
We have a floating mic here, so if you need to...
Just raise your hand, and then they'll give you the mic, and then I'll take your question. Yeah, Muslims, you're also allowed to ask questions as well, okay? But I'll choose if I want to answer or not. Because sometimes they get very cheeky with me as well. They test me as well. Anyone have any questions? Go ahead. Yes, we have one. Where's the professor today? Doctor?
She's outside.
Oh, she's
Somebody
here.
text.
Oh, okay, all right. So, okay.
It's quite a simple one. It's basically about dates and the significance of dates. Why do you eat dates?
Thank you very much. One of the reasons, so everybody had the question, one of the reasons why we break the fast with dates is Prophet Muhammad who broke his fast with dates. And I know it's regional because dates was very popular in Medina. If you go to Medina now, palm trees everywhere. Their survival was dates as well. But to us, it's just that we want to imitate Prophet Muhammad. Even his periods, we try our very best. We try to, whatever he ate, because our belief is that he was the best person to walk on this earth. So we want to imitate the best person, even in his food as well. So it's not compulsory. He said that if you don't find any date, then break your fast with water or anything. But we want to break our fast with date if it's possible for that reason. Then there's a medical reason as well. Throughout the whole day you're fasting, so you lost a lot of sugar, and it's really good day for the fiber and to regain all the sugar. One day is enough to get all the sugar that he lost throughout the whole day. So this is the medical reason, which is to us is secondary, not that important. The most important thing is, hey, I'm fasting like Muhammad. That's what's more important to us. Thank you. Yes, please.
If you're in the Antarctica and it's during Ramadan and the sun doesn't set, then do you fast the whole month? Or?
Excellent. That's a very good.
I hope not.
So there is a very interesting tradition. It is mentioned that towards the end of the time, Prophet Muhammad, towards the end of the time, our year is not going to be the way we have 365 days. He said it's going to be, the sun will not rise from the east. So this kind of tradition I mentioned. The companions were like baffled. To them it's like beyond their comprehension. Like this is we've gone to so far into future. So they said that, wait, how do you pray? How do you work out which is the morning prayer or the afternoon prayer? That's exactly what he said. He said you estimate. You use your intelligent guess and you estimate. So this is the same answer I will give you. That the people they will just estimate. So they won't fast it. They'll just estimate they have fasted. To us, it's not always 30 days. It could be 29 days. Month is either 29 days or 30 days. This year, I keep on saying this, and people are listening to me. This year, my understanding, because I'm not an astronomer, but I love astronomy, so I follow the movement of the moon. I told everybody beginning of the month, 3 weeks before Ramadan started, when Ramadan will start. And I said to them, I might be wrong because we have to actually physically see the moon, or someone has to give us a report about the moon is born so that we start the fasting. I told them it's going to be Thursday, it was on Thursday. And now I keep on telling them that it's going to be on Friday. But again, disclaimer, unless we see the moon on Saturday, that's different. But that's how it is basically. So they will estimate, do an educated guess, and fast accordingly. That's it. And another thing as well, if someone can't work this one out, then they are exempted. So they are exempted. So they will basically fast when they find a solution to it. Okay? All the commandments are very easy. Yes, please, can I have the microphone?
My friends at swimming tend to miss swimming during Ramadan.
Yeah.
Is that a rule or is that their own choice?
Okay, very good. So if someone is swimming, the danger is that they might swallow the water. And if they accidentally swallow the water, the fast will break. But to be honest with you, I mean, many of the swimmers, you will let us know. I don't know how many of us were swimming and we drank the water. It happened, but very rare. And if you don't want to taste the water, the swimming water anyway, it's just disgusting. Okay? But it's because of the fear. So it's his own choice, it's not a rule.
It would only be an accident though, wouldn't it? If they swallow the water and it's got chlorine in it, maybe some weed, it would just be, an accident.
Yeah, so that's the reason why. I think so many Muslims, they choose this. So I get a lot of questions about going to the doctor, for example, to take vaccination and injection, all of that. I get a lot of questions. So the answer is this, that it doesn't break your fast. For example, the injection doesn't break your fast because it's not going to your belly. It's not food. It goes to the vein. We are not talking about, the injection doesn't break fast, I tell them. But they choose not to still take the injection. They say that I'll delay this. So there are so many Muslims, they just want their fast to be proper. They don't want to make any mistakes. So that's your friend is exactly like that. They just thought, you know what, I'll take a break, from swimming. And after Ramadan, which is only 1 week left, I'll start swimming again. So that's what it is. Otherwise, in the state of fasting, we shower, we bath, we basically wash ourselves as well. We have to do ablution where we have to put the water into our mouth as well. We have to clean our nose. We've been told, do it be very careful that you don't swallow or drink. So some people, they choose this not to swim. That's all it is. But you can swim.
Even cleaning your teeth?
Yeah, we do that. We have to.
Right.
Yeah, we clean our teeth as well. Yes, we do that. There's nothing wrong. Basically, eating something breaks your fast. That's it. So even if you taste something, it doesn't break your fast. Some of the people when they cook, they taste it. Yeah, the salt is all right. Okay. Swallowing it breaks your fast. Tasting doesn't break your fast. Okay. It's very easy. I want everyone to. So next time when we have a gathering, we won't fast and then we'll gather again. How about this? Yeah. Okay. Anyone else have any other questions? Yes, please. Can I have the mic here?
I'm very impressed with the use you make of this building, the slideshow, all the things going on here, and the fact that you organise events like this. Really great.
He gets very happy when you say that.
Do you mind to use this? I think this is great. The receiver is over there, so you can use this one.
Thank you very much for that. Yes, true.
But what I often wonder about is what happens to people born into the Muslim religion who don't quite fit in. For instance, men or women who are homosexual, or also people who grow up and start doubting the religion or doubt any religion. Are they welcomed and do they feel at home in this community?
Very good. So we haven't had anyone yet. And so I can't say that we have rejected anyone. So no one has in the mosque. I do a lot of private conversation happens outside the mosque. So what is, everyone has my number. So there are some people, they don't want to come to the mosque to talk about this. You're right, they feel shy. Privately, there are a lot of cases. So people want to talk to me about it. And I just tell them exactly what you said. I said, no, you are welcome. This is the mosque for everybody. You are welcome to the mosque. So their questions are very different questions. But the question is like, not am I welcome to the mosque or not. The question is that, what does Islam say about this? What does the Quran say about this? They want to understand because they still want to say that I believe in God. They don't want to give up the religion. Just because, I incline towards this doesn't mean that I'm now going to hell. This is the message that they get. So they want to talk to someone. These are the conversations that we have. So no one has came to the mosque and said that I'm a homosexual. Am I welcome here? And the mosque said, no, you're not. That hasn't happened. So if that happened, I can only answer you that we have rejected someone like that. We have said it. Our announcement every day is this, that this mosque is for everybody. So, on a night prayer that we have, this is what we say, this is a masjid for everybody. So we have children sometimes here. And I'm telling you, there are some elderly people, they don't like the fact that children are making a lot of noise. And I don't blame them because to concentrate, to listen to the Quran, it becomes quite difficult. And the children make a lot of noise. But then we try to facilitate for them. So we have a special room now upstairs where children could go and they could play. But we still want the children to come. So we don't want anyone to go from the mosque. We want everyone to come to the mosque. So we are all welcome. So if there is someone like that, they want to come to the masjid, they are welcome. We are not going to push anybody away from the mosque. That's not our policy. Can we have the mic at the back, please? Yeah, take the mic.
I will do this. It's my first time here.
Thank you.
I'm trying to find out of what happened inside. I was invited with this neighbor that has a shop. And honestly, I want to learn a little bit more, okay? Yesterday, I have a friend that gave me the Quran in Portuguese. Honestly, I didn't read until today, but I will. But it's something that I want to find out, okay?
No problem.
I thought there was a question.
Okay, thank you. But yes, you're very welcome, and I'm sure my volunteers will guide you. We'll take one more question because we have a lot of safety announcements made, who is getting ready as well. They have to prepare, and we're going to give you a chance to basically intermingle and ask questions. Okay, we got a question at the back. Abdul Wahid, we have a question. Sorry. Okay, I'll make it two questions. There's coming one from the. Yes.
Assalamualaikum, Sheikh. A lot of friends and colleagues and everybody else always ask me about the importance of itikaf. They've noticed that the last 10 days there's a lot of Muslims who stay in the masjid.
Yes.
I thought it might be a question that you might be able to explain better and why there's a deeper spiritual meaning behind it.
Thank you. So last year, I don't know who came to us, last year I was in itikaf. I'm here this year as well. There's a word we have called itikaf, which basically comes from the Arabic word akafa. The word akafa means to stay in one place. So in the last 10 nights, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said the last 10 nights of Ramadan, the last 10 days of Ramadan, they're very special. And within the last 10 nights, one night is very powerful. It's equivalent to 1,000 months. So for that reason, he said that try your very best to do a lot of worshipping, a lot of contemplation, a lot of recitation, contributing to the Quran, and give a lot of donations, and be charitable, be hospitable, be nice, and pray to God for forgiveness, etc., etc. And he himself would basically seclude himself in the mosque for the last 10 nights, to an extent that he would not go home. He would just stay in the mosque, in the prayer area. So all the eating and all the fasting and observing happens in the mosque. So we're doing that. I'm doing this as well, and I have 15 observers with me as well that we're doing this in this mosque as well. So we stay in the mosque. You're only allowed to go for necessity and the call of nature. Otherwise, you just try to stay here. And we do this again following the tradition of Prophet Muhammad, because he told us it will make you basically get more closer to God. And to be honest with you, if you read the biographies of all the prophets, I just want to say, this is not whatever Prophet Muhammad does. It's not new. Peace be upon him. If you go back to the tradition, Abraham, he went to a mount, he went to a cave, and basically he stayed there for 10 days, Prophet Abraham. And this is the same cave, by the way, that his wife, Sarah, she was on the verge of dying. On her deathbed, she said that, bury me in a good place. So Abraham took Sarah to the same place where he was meditating, in a cave. This cave now in Hebron, which is called Al-Khalil in Arabic. It's in Palestine, Jerusalem, Hebron, and then Abraham said to his children that if I die, I want to be next to my wife, Sarah. So Abraham is buried there as well. It's amazing because I visited a month or two ago, February we went, sorry. We went to February, and it's amazing that Abraham's there, then Sarah's there. And then Isaac, he said that if I die, I want to be buried next to my family. So he's also in the cave as well. It's a big cave, And then it's a very big cave. Then Isaac's wife, we call it in Arabic Rifqa, and in English Rebecca, she's buried there as well. This gets more interesting. Then Jacob said, I want to be next to them as well. So Jacob is buried there as well. Then Joseph said, I want to be buried there. But he died in Egypt. So Moses, peace be upon him, our tradition tells us Moses actually took the body of Joseph all the way near Midian, and then he gave it to his disciples to take it to Jerusalem and bury. So they're all buried in that cave. So the cave was prophesied to go to the cave. Moving on, Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him, he had a cave as well in Mount Olives. And he used to be, meditating there as well. And then before him, Prophet Moses, he went to a Mount Sinai, where he received revelation. He was also meditating in cave as well. If you read all the biographies of the prophets, you notice every single prophet, they wanted time to themselves. Then, very interesting tradition, Prophet Muhammad said, in Arabic language, he said, مَا مِن نَبِيٍّ إِلَّا وَقَدْ رَعَى الْغَنَمِ. He said, every single prophet, they were shepherds. So the companion, they exactly know everything about Prophet Muhammad, because he literally grew up in front of them. He said, you as well, because we've never seen you. You as well, he said, even me as well. He said, when? So when I was young, about 13, 14-year-old, he said, and I was a shepherd for my uncle Abu Talib as well, and he gave the location, ala Qararit, Makkah in Qararit. And people, I had to make some money as well. So why every single prophet was a shepherd? Because it teaches you self-discipline. And you are on your own now. There's nothing in front of you except for you and your goats in front of you. You're away from the hustle and bustle of the whole city. You meditate, you think, you reflect. That was their i'tikaf, that was the situation. So we can't go to the cave now. We come to the mosque and try to stay here, away from all the internet, all the Wi-Fi, and all the gadget, and that's what we're supposed to do, guys, yeah? Some of them, they bring their phones with them. And try to meditate, that's to spend some time. So that's the meaning of i'tikaf. We are trying to revive all the tradition of all the prophets that I mentioned. Okay, I think, any more questions? Because I think it's getting a little boring, and it's like I'm lecturing everybody. Yeah, soon I'm going to say, right, who's ready to convert to Islam now? That's not what we're going to do here. I'm going to stop. That's enough now. So I want to give you guys the time to, walk around and check our place out and everything. And Shafi, what is the food? That's the most important question. For me, I know. For everybody, at the same time?
Same time.
Oh,
same time. If you want, you can have earlier. It would be nice if all of us sit together and we eat together. Hopefully it will be nice. So you have options. You're going to eat now, you can eat now, or you can wait for us. Secondly, we have an arrangement at the back. So obviously in the mosque, we sit down on the floor. You can see the gentleman over there, that we are very comfortable. We can sit down for hours, 3-4 hours. So we sit down on the floor and we eat. So we have a tent outside, so where we arrange the food. And also we have the table here for today. So if you're not comfortable, we'll be providing the chairs and tables, and so you can sit down there. What happened generally in our community, our women, they go upstairs, they have their own space, and they like, because they want to talk to each other, which men doesn't like gossiping, by the way. So they'll do the gossiping, so they want to go upstairs and they want to have their own time and food. So if you think you want to go upstairs, the sisters, you are allowed to go upstairs, or you can sit at the downstairs, and the food will be downstairs as well for men and women both. It's totally up to you. If you want to use the toilet, which I supposed to tell you before, so we have 4 toilets here, the front and the back, and all the emergency exit, you can see the emergency exit is there. So these are supposed to tell you before, but obviously after food, if you need to exit emergency, so those are the exit you can have. We have 4 bathrooms. We have 4 bathrooms. If anybody has to shower or anything, do let us know. We will arrange it before you go to the food. What else?
Yeah, just basically we have a lot of volunteers, everybody. So
we have a lot of volunteers.
So please ask.
The brothers and the sisters. So these are terms we use for our male and the female volunteers, brothers and sisters. So any brothers and sisters you see, they are wearing their lanyard. We say it's kanhul. They are volunteers. You speak to them, whatever need you need to fulfill, they will do it for you. Secondly, we don't use any plastic cutleries or the plates or the cups. So all are metal. Reason being is, as you know, we beautifully made the garden outside, and this is we're trying to do something for the community and for our local environment. So obviously, if somebody turn on the other mic, Hamza, if you can switch to the other mic, it would be very helpful. You can leave your plate our volunteers there, they will wash it. And this is something we started, and you'll be surprised. Last year we started only last year. So 100 people do iftar every day here. So our volunteers, they clean those plates, cups, spoons, more than 100 every day. And it takes them 20 minutes, and we finish it off. The other mosque, biggest mosque in London is East London Mosque, ELM. They came and they visited us and they inspired, and their iftar, they arranged for 500 people. So they started from this year, they started the same thing.
You can imagine the waste of plastics. 500, but that's every day, by the way, every day for 30 days. And imagine the wastage of plastic. And we decided that no, we have to be friendly to our environment. It's very important. And this is the tradition that we learned. So we started this 2 years ago. Yes? Last year was our full year basically, and now this is our second year. And we have, how many people break fast every day?
100, more than 100.
More than 100.
Roughly 100.
So imagine how much we are wasting as well. And we've done it before, by the way, so we are guilty. We learn from our mistakes. We used to have 4 or 5 bags outside.
We used to have, I think, the plastics, the spoon, the plates, the cups, we used to have 4 to 6 black bags every day. And we have only 1 or 2 wheelie bins, so we have to ask our volunteers, can you take 1 bag today to your home? Now, over this today's 23rd day, I think we have produced 5 or maximum 6. It's in a small, only food waste now, only the food waste. So in a small bag, in a small bag, and that's it. Yes, so.
Can I just...
So if anything, you have to come forward here.
Sorry, I'm a counsellor, the Waltham Forest Council. I'm Shabana Dedi, if you don't know who I am. So I was really pleased to hear about that, the recycling.
Yeah.
Really impressed. And I think you can teach other mosques to do the same thing that you're doing. Because I went to an iftar yesterday at Kazan Islam, and they were using a lot of plastic. So I think we need to spread that message. But also you can do food recycling, and I'll make sure I get information to you about that.
Thank you.
So regarding food, basically, what we do is we put it into containers, so nothing gets in the bin. The food is basically in the one that we could save, basically, and it's hygienically okay. We put it into containers, and then the washing they take with them. It doesn't get wasted. But yeah, we are very happy about the fact that we are going to cutlery, but a lot of washing. And I just want to know, the volunteers, they come and they wash and they go, that's it. So there's no one getting paid for this. And the plates are really nicely washed as well, and you will see them today in front of you. Yes.
So that's the options. You don't have to wash it. But if you want to take a testing of how to do washing, you're most welcome. You have a beautiful kitchen, you're most welcome. If anybody have any questions regarding masjid, the mosque, obviously he's the imam, he's the expert on the religion, so he answers all the religious questions. If anybody has any questions for the mosque, I'm here and other volunteers are here. If I can't do answer, then other volunteers, I can ask them to answer it for you. If you have any question, please, you have 2 minutes, and then we can close off. And then we'll be ready for another 20 minutes. I think we'll be ready for the food. Yes. Any questions? Thank you. Maybe I will be having a lot of complaints later on because I introduced myself as a complaint box. So hopefully you will enjoy your food and do see us and give us your feedback. Anything you see in this area and anything you want to make it better, especially surrounding the mosque, please do let us know. We have a letter book outside. You can put your comment, your feedback, anything outside. You can email us. And any comment, whether this is constructive or is a negative comment, please do not hesitate to tell us, because we are learning. We would learn from each other. If we could make mistake. Something we think is better for the community, but it's not maybe. So you do let us know that we can able to change ourselves. Thank you.
One last thing, one final thing is that basically the volunteers, they will need at least 20 minutes to prepare the food. So the food will be served roughly 7:58, 8 o'clock. And after that, it will take about 15 minutes to eat, but that doesn't mean for everybody they've got 15 minutes. You've got plenty of time. You've got 1 hour to eat. For 15 minutes, and then we have a prayer. So you carry on eating. You don't need to join us for the prayers, but you're going to see some people getting up coming to join for the prayers. But all our guests here, you carry on eating. What's going to happen after the prayer? They're going to come back and join you again to eat with you. Okay, so that's what's going to happen. We give everybody 15 minutes to finish their food. If they haven't finished their food, then they go back and eat. So we have to pray another prayer, and that's the reason why you will see some people leaving the seats, but they will return again. Don't worry. Thank you very much for that.
Lastly, we might ask some of you might need some chairs. We're a small mosque, we don't have chairs, so our volunteers they keep asking me to ask you if we can to prepare the table. So maybe we can start that from the back. So our brothers and sisters who are sitting on the chairs, if you could just spare some chairs so they can able to prepare the table. And now we can close off. And thank you very much to come to the mosque, and very honored and pleased to have you here. Enjoy your food. Thank you once again. Anything you see or you want to see, myself and Imam is here and other volunteers here, please do consider this is your own building. You go upstairs, we have a library room upstairs, you can check it. We have a female section, you can go and check it. If you want to go to visit the garden, at the moment garden is covered with a big tent, so you can see really the beautiful garden. But next time you can come and enjoy the garden. Thank you. Thank you. Can I request our brothers who do Iftar regularly, if you can go to the marquee in the tent, and some volunteers, if you can able to help the other volunteers to take the food in. Please, thank you.